Hey guys, so we're just going to talk a little bit about fibers. So you guys got to look at some fibers some fabrics under a microscope last time, and we're going to learn a little bit more about them. So we're going to start with some vocabulary. First, we have filaments. Oh, and you should be filling out the Google Doc while I'm going over this stuff. So filaments are a single strand of something. So you could have a filament of silk. Fibers are when you twist those filaments together to make thread or yarn. That's forming a fiber. And then, of course, fabric is the fibers usually woven together. And this is actually a picture of some fibers. So, fibers, as you probably can guess, when we talk about individual and class evidence, are going to be class evidence. So remember, individual evidence is evidence that you can tie back to a specific person. And class evidence is evidence that you can only tie back to a group of people. So a fiber does not belong to just one specific person. Like if you find a piece of white cotton, there could be many people who might be wearing a white cotton shirt. So fibers are class evidence, not individual evidence. Okay, so a lot of fabrics these days are woven. They're just woven really small. So we're going to learn a little bit of vocabulary about weaving. So when you weave something, there's a name for the threads that go vertically and the threads that go horizontally. So the vertical ones are called the warp, and the horizontal ones are called the weft or the woof. I don't know how to say that actually. Usually it's called the weft. So I'll show you some pictures here. So you can see the warp going vertical that are in light blue and the weft going horizontal that are in yellow. So if you look at a shirt, all of the threads going vertically would be warp threads, and all the ones going horizontally would be weft threads. And sometimes the warp and weft are made of different materials, and sometimes they have different strengths. So a shirt might have more strength if it's pulled this way than if it's pulled this way, or vice versa, depending on what fabrics, what types of materials make up the warp and the weft. Okay, so you are going to need to know how to identify several different types of fibers that fall into three categories. So there's animal fibers, vegetable fibers, and synthetic fibers. So these are all types of fabric made out of different types of material. All of them are polymers. So remember, polymers are long molecules made up of small parts. So we're going to talk about animal fibers first. So common animal fiber is wool. Wool is something called a polyamide. That's a type of polymer it is. Polyamides are long chains of amino acids bonded together. So it's kind of like a protein. And again, amide bonds connect many amino acids. So wool, when you burn it, which we will do on Tuesday when I see you guys, has a weird smell, and that's because some of the amino acids in wool have sulfur in them. So that makes it smell kind of bad when you burn it. Silk is the other animal fiber made from silkworms. It's also a polyamide, and it is made by the larva of a certain type of moth. So the larva will make a cocoon with the silk, and then to get the silk, they actually have to kill the larva. So it's actually really sad. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about silk. I don't know if they've come up with a way to do that without killing the silkworms. It's kind of sad. So this is a picture of the little tiny monomers that make up wool. And that's a picture of a bigger version of wool. And then there's some silkworm cocoons. Okay, I'm running out of time, so we're going to go really fast. Types of vegetable fibers are cotton, which is made of cellulose, kind of like wood. That's the type of polymer it's made of. And it smells like burning leaves when it's burned because it's made of plant fibers, which makes sense. Okay, The other type of plant fiber or vegetable fiber is linen. And linen actually comes from the flax plant. It's also made of cellulose, similarly to cotton. So here's a picture of cotton on the plant, and here's a picture of what flax looks like. So believe it or not, you can make fabric from that. It's really interesting. Okay. So man-made or synthetic fibers. There's several of these. One of them is polyester. So polyester is actually like kind of a broad category of different types of fabric. There's different types of polyesters, I guess. So that is the type of polymer it's made of, a polyester. So an ester is a group of atoms that there are a lot of on polyesters. And it's very, very common. And it's actually the same stuff that a lot of plastic is made out of. So it's really interesting to think that we can use this compound to make both clothing and like plastic packaging. Nylon is a polyamide, so kind of like wool and silk, but synthetic. It's the first synthetic thermoplastic polymer, and it wasn't actually used in nylons first. It was used on toothbrush bristles. Sorry. So that's kind of interesting. And the last one is spandex, which is made of two sort of polymers, polyether and polyurea. And here's a picture of polyester. Obviously, you guys know what nylons look like, but nylon doesn't have to look just like nylon, like fabric that nylons have. And spandex, obviously spandex is very elastic, very stretchy. So you can tell the difference between these fibers sometimes by looking at them under a microscope. Synthetic fibers are going to be a lot smoother than things like cotton and wool that are natural. And then synthetic fibers are going to burn very differently than the natural fibers. So we will talk about that and do those burn tests when you are back in class. Oh, and here are what the molecules kind of look like. So polyesters can look like that. Nylons look pretty simple. And then you can see spandex is pretty complicated. It's a pretty complicated polymer. Okay.